Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How you going?
Good evening.
Hello. Well, it's been a while.
It has been a while. You'll note a few differences. Like, for instance, I have pink hair tonight. The reason I have pink hair is 2.5 weeks ago now, I fell off my e-scooter and busted my ankle. We still don't know to the extent of which I busted my ankle. Not fractured. Pretty sure there's some significant ligament and tendon damage. Long story short, I can't be bothered doing my hair. So I'm trying out some wigs.
Me too. Merkins. No, wigs. What?
Right.
Okay. Yes, and you can't see her crutches, but they're right behind her head. She walks, she's hoppy now.
Yeah, it's great.
No,
I love it.
It's not great. Guys, stay off e-scooters.
Yeah.
Okay. So a couple of weeks ago, while Hoppy here was new to her crutches, we went to a friend's place and watched a movie. And it was so coincidental that we were going to have a film that starts with K.
Yes, because that's the letter we're up to in Shitcast.
Yes, and if you've seen our previous letter, that was J with Jaws 4, Jaws the Revenge. Go check that video out. It's a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun reviewing it, not a lot of fun watching it, and not a lot of fun reviewing it for the second time because idiot boy forgot to check the volume control.
Thankfully, we didn't have to watch this one twice, although this movie wasn't quite the slog as that Jaws the Revenge was.
You're preempting too soon. You're giving away your opinion.
I can do that. That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, true.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so the K film was Knock at the Cabin, M. Night Shyamalan's latest film? No, Trap is his latest one.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, Trap, which is about to come out. It's got Josh Hartnett in it. And I'm actually really looking forward to it because I like the fact that they've given away what the plot is, but they haven't given away how they get there. It reminds me, it looks like Snake Eyes by De Palma.
Yeah, like...
And Josh Hartnett is a good actor.
I would be excited about that, but...
she doesn't like him.
Knock at the Cabin, for me, just reinforced that Shyamalan really needs to take a few steps back and have a rethink about everything because he's made a couple of masterpieces in his time. Unbreakable is probably one of the best superhero movies ever told.
My second favourite.
But
third favourite, sorry.
Things started to go downhill after that, and he's been...
What? Split.
Look, Split wasn't bad.
No hope.
James McAvoy was fantastic.
Where's his
in
Oscar?
that role.
Where's his Oscar for that?
But aside from Split, it's been pretty consistently bad. And unfortunately for me, Knock at the Cabin wasn't exactly a return to form.
Although we did rewatch The Village, and that was
did.
excellent. That was really cool.
I wouldn't go so far as to say excellent.
I would say excellent.
But when you compare it to everything that has come out since then, I have a new appreciation for The Village that I didn't have before.
I mean, the funny thing is, his worst film actually became, well, they changed the name of it a bit, and it became a very part of the zeitgeist a few years ago, which is The Happening. And if you remember, there was a thing called The Fappening.
Yes.
And that's the only good thing about that movie was that, but it wasn't a good thing, if you know what I mean.
And we're going to shitcast that movie one day because
that film,
the Happening is
that deserves an episode.
Is something special.
It's a special kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie is not that.
But we should see a teaser.
Yes.
Teaser. Hopefully it's very short because if you haven't seen it, M. Night's films as of late have given you the entire plot in the trailer. So we'll try and find a teaser so that you're not just, there's the movie. Like Gladiator 2 we watched.
Yes. So. Anyway. Enjoy.
Are we gonna sing along?
Yes, of course.
I wanna put on my boogie shoes.
Yeah.
I wanna put on my boogie shoes. Just boogie with you.
My name's Leonard. Well, it's nice to meet you, Will.
Why are you here?
I suppose I'm here to make friends with you. And your dad's too. But my heart is broken
Why is it broken?
because of what I have to do today.
There is a woman carrying something that looks like a pick with a chain and a mallet head.
You see, the four of us have a very important job to do. In fact, it might be the most important job in the history of the world. We were called and are united by a common vision, which has now become a command that we cannot ignore. The four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse. Your family has been chosen to make a horrible decision. If you fail to choose, the world will end.
So there's that. Yeah, if you're the trailer pretty much gives you exactly what you think you're going to get. It's like,
It gives an entire film in the trailer.
yeah, that, but also it gives, it hints at the mediocrity that is this movie.
See, I don't have that opinion. So,
Yeah, he liked it.
yeah, I did. I actually was like, genuinely surprised and thoroughly pleased that it was nowhere near as bad as everyone had said it was going to be.
Should we discuss the plot
Yes.
of this movie?
Well, you want to do the plot?
Yeah, I'll do the plot.
I thought I was going to do the Okay, fine.
I'm going to do the plot.
Fine.
Bugger it, I'm doing the plot. It's a movie. It's based off a book called The Cabin at the End of the World.
By
I can't remember.
Paul Tremblay.
There you go. We'll go into the
novelist.
differences between the book and the movie a bit later, but there are a few. But this
Major.
Yeah, major. This movie is based on that book, and it's about a group of people who come to visit this couple in their cabin in the woods with their young daughter, and they explain to this couple that the apocalypse is about to happen, and that this couple are the only two people that can prevent the apocalypse, and the way they can do that is by making a sacrifice.
Of one of the family, not just them
Yeah.
two,
Yeah.
but also could be the child.
Yeah, and I mean, the only things that they don't really explain to them clearly at the beginning what the sacrifice is,
Could be a meat pie.
which is a very Shyamalan thing to do. The dialogue is as hokey as you would expect in this movie.
And the book is, I've read the book and it's not, I mean, it's wordy because it's literature.
Yeah.
But it's not stilted.
No.
That's the word I've been trying to
Yeah.
think of all day. Stilted dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll admit that.
M.
I'll
Night's
give you
got a gift, especially with his later movies, of writing dialogue that you'd never hear it. You'd never hear people speaking like this. You'd never hear people choosing those words. You'd never hear people describing a situation in the way that people describe it in his movies. The way children speak is especially bizarre.
But I actually liken that kind of dialogue to like Kevin Williamson's Scream, which is akin to how Shakespeare wrote his dialogue. It's meant to be in a certain cadence. And I'm not defending this and saying it's great dialogue or anything like that or how it's delivered. I'm just saying that I think maybe that's what he's going for.
Yeah, probably.
But it's not the actors that he has chosen for every project maybe can't do it justice. I mean,
maybe
it'd
don't
be like
quite
Keanu Reeves.
understand the vision that he has for the script, and the
Like
line
Keanu
delivery
in,
is
in Dracula.
very.
I know
much
where
like
the
that.
bastard sleeps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that that's,
that kind of.
yeah, that's what they're
line
doing
delivery.
to his dialogue. But I do think he's actually trying something a little bit more not highbrow because that's like A24 crap, but a little bit more fanciful
Yeah.
in his dialogue.
It's not quite delivering though.
But it worked in The Village because they were speaking high English because they
Yeah.
were of the time.
That's the thing. It made sense in that movie because it was
Of the time.
Yeah, of
The time. Let's
yeah,
just say that.
yeah, the time.
She gives away everything, this woman. Jeez.
Actually gives away nothing.
Okay, true.
Anyway, so this
gonna hit
couple are informed that the apocalypse is about to happen and they need to make a sacrifice, and that sacrifice is supposed to be
One of the
them,
members, yeah.
and they have to make this sacrifice willingly or the apocalypse will happen. And basically, these people have to convince them within a certain time period that this is what they have to do or the end of the world will happen. And in between that, if they don't convince them, then each of these people who have come to visit them will have to sacrifice themselves to halt the apocalypse a little bit, to give them more time to make their decision. And let's maybe go through the cast. We have our couple in the movie are Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge. They play Eric and Andrew, a gay couple who have an adopted daughter named Wen.
Gwendolyn, is it?
Wen Lin.
Wen Lin.
Wen Lin. They call her Wen
Oh,
for,
right, yeah.
for short.
I thought it was Gwendolyn. I couldn't understand
No,
that
it's
part.
Wen Lin.
I think everyone was talking at that.
Yeah. But we've got Dave Bautista, who plays Leonard, who we find out is a school teacher or a coach. We have Nikki Muka-Bird, who plays Sabrina, who is a nurse. Rupert Grint,
Ron.
our Ron Weasley, who plays Redmond, who we believe is some kind of gas fitter, but
Like a gas repairman.
yeah, but his
For the city, I think. He actually
main
says.
character development is that he ends up. We find out that he's a homophobe who actually beat up Andrew several years ago in a bar.
And that's actually one of the big mysteries of the film. Like,
Yeah.
is it him or not? And
Yeah.
I think those two guys, I'm not really familiar with Emma Watson, but those two guys out of Harry Potter,
Yeah.
him and Daniel Radcliffe, they are really good actors.
They are very good actors,
and
yeah,
their accents are perfect.
yeah, and Rupert Grint was actually pretty good in this movie for.
He played it well.
Yeah, we also have Abby Quinn, who plays Adrienne, who's a waitress. So that's pretty much the entire cast.
And the little girl.
As I said, when
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
yeah, pay attention.
Yes, ma'am. She schooled me, guys.
That's right. So what
Okay, so what happens is now we can give you the plot because it's a Shyamalan film. It tells
spoilers.
you. Yeah, spoilers. So if you don't like spoilers, still watch because we need the viewers. Okay, so the first apocalypse is going to happen if they don't sacrifice one of them.
Yeah,
and they're
the
tied to a
first
chair.
signs of the apocalypse.
Yeah, and they're tied to a chair, so they can't really do anything until they've made a decision. And they're not going to kill them. That's the thing. They're not going to hurt them or kill them. they're actually
They need them to
they
be
need them,
alive
to make a
this
choice.
sacrifice.
And Jonathan Groff actually gets hit on the head and he gets concussion, and they're like, it's going to. Ben Aldrich is like worried that it's going to affect his decision-making skills.
He also does start seeing a few things after the first character dies. He sees like a light off in the corner, which Andrew sort of attributes to his concussion, but it's actually he saw
A vision.
a vision.
And this is all these 4 characters that come to the cabin have all had a vision separately. They've all met on a forum and they've all come to the cabin because they don't know who's going to be at the cabin. They don't know what kind of situation it's going to be. All they know is the people in that cabin have to make a choice as who's going to die. So they could have come up against like 10 people or whatever, but their whole thing is they've got to convince them. And Batista's befriends Gwen outside because she's collecting grasshoppers, and he was actually a teacher, and of course he uses that sort of skill to befriend her, and
In a way that is not
not-
meant to come across as creepy, but it can't help
it's
being
a guy
creepy.
and a little girl. It's always going to be a sore subject and touchy.
Yeah.
But they get into the cabin, they tie him up, and they say if you don't do this, like one of them has to die. And we'll tell it's Rupert Grint.
Yep.
It's his character. So so he actually impales his own head on a
These homemade weapons
yeah.
that they've made to
And-
sacrifice themselves on.
and in the vision they're told to make these weapons as well.
Yeah. And they're told that the order that people will die in.
And what happens is they turn on the television and a tsunami happens. And it's sort of like Batista or Leonard.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's actually reciting, because it's his dream, he's reciting exactly what the news reporter is saying.
Well, see, he doesn't actually do that towards
Towards
the
the
end
end.
of the movie.
That's right.
You think he would do that from the
beginning,
beginning
yeah.
to convince them that they're not just watching a
Whackers.
recording.
Yeah, 'cause I
or
immediately
that it's
thought
not
that
just
was
a
happening.
coincidence because, tsunamis happen, that kind of thing. But no, he saves that,
It's the third death?
for the third act of the film.
Yeah, and it is what it is. But so they know what's going to happen, and then of course the tsunami hits, but they're like this this is a videotape. You've put something on or DVD,
Like
whatever.
as you would. I mean,
Yeah, I
like,
wouldn't believe it.
realistically, this is a gay couple in the cabin out in the middle of the woods. They quite rightly think that this group, a bunch
Homophobes.
of homophobes who have come to beat them up, and this is Andrew is convinced of this further when he recognises Raymond as this person who beat him up several years ago.
But he can't be 100% sure because he actually had a little bit of not brain damage, but a bit of amnesia.
Yeah,
at
and
the
he
time.
did look a bit different at the time. He had a beard and he didn't really get a good look at him. But he does actually confirm as the movie goes on that this was the guy that beat him up, and that convinces him further that
This is
these
not
people
right.
are just here to bully them, basically. So it takes the entire length of the movie to convince them that, and the deaths of each of these poor people, to convince them that the apocalypse is in fact nigh and they do have to make a sacrifice.
Yeah, and I actually liked the pacing of this. I actually thought it was. We have problems with films that are overly edited. We've just seen one tonight that we were like, "Oh, this is really good. This is really. Oh my god!"
Yeah, and
It was just like, what happened? And it was purely, and it comes up as I've mentioned before on this show, additional editor.
Yeah.
Or and it's sort of like that always tells you that there's studio interference. This one actually feels like from beginning to end, this was what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people don't get on board with the auteur theory, auteur theory being that, it's one person's vision and everyone rallies around to make that vision happen. I actually do believe in it. Sorry, Dave. And I think Shyamalan is one of the only filmmakers currently like creating their own vision.
Yeah.
I mean, you got people like Spielberg and all those guys that he's a very much of a collaborator.
Yeah.
And you can see that his films are not compromised, but you can see that he actually
Yeah.
collaborates.
Yeah.
Where you got Shyamalan, you got people like Mike Flanagan,
Yeah.
Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
You know that it's their film.
Yeah, and I do appreciate that about Shyamalan. He doesn't compromise his vision. It's just, unfortunately, as the years have gone by,
His ego's getting in the way.
yeah, he appears to have gotten into his own head a little bit too far, and he would actually benefit from someone going, just take a step back. Like this is what you're actually about. This is what you're trying to say. You actually are really good at doing it if you do it the right way, but you just need to get out of your head a little bit.
And that's why I liked about this one. The reason why I actually liked this film, one of the reasons, is because he didn't write it like the original story. He actually adapted it, and it's the first time that he's actually adapted something else other than his own work. And I think that helped his storytelling immensely because it's not his baby,
Yeah.
And it's his vision. You can
Yeah.
tell that's his vision, but it's also coming from another creator. It's like, when I always mention Flanagan, but like when Flanagan
Yeah.
did Haunting of Hill House,
Yeah.
that is nothing like the book. Like nothing. It's completely
Yeah.
different. But you see his vision
Yeah.
of that story, and it's like, holy crap, it couldn't be anything else.
Yeah.
It literally is the best version of this story that's been done.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think this is the case. I don't think his vision of the story is all that great, especially having learnt about the differences between the book and the movie.
Maybe that's a studio thing though.
Mate,
to give it the green light, they've got to temper down like the controversial bits.
but he didn't really temper it down though. There aren't a lot of differences between the movie and the book, except
there
for
but, yeah.
the order in the way some of the characters die. Like some characters live in the book that don't live in the movie. We'll go into that further in a bit, but the order, the way things happen in the book makes sense.
It's organic.
It is organic. If people were to come across, you and your partner in a cabin in the woods and present this ridiculous idea to you, it is a ridiculous idea. So for you to agree to it in the end, it has to make sense in some way. And in the book, it does make sense. Shyamalan has twisted it in a way and of course added his
Religious
very
parable.
unique, his religious parables and his unique dialogue to it and it's twisted and turned this tale into something that
Tremblay's a great writer.
does
It's a
not
great
make
book.
sense at all and is not convincing. You would just be like, who are these people? This is
They're robots.
ridiculous. And why are they talking to me like this?
They're robots.
They're robots. It's
But see,
weird.
I'm going to go back what I was saying about how it's supposed to be delivered in a certain way, and he has a certain cadence and just style. I think that I like his style, and a lot of people don't, and that's fine. It's not a you're wrong for liking his style or you're wrong for not liking his style. It's like the only film that I think, well, there's two films of his because I haven't seen Old. But there's two films of his I think are absolutely trash and should never be released on anything other than DVD, and that's The Happening and Lady in the Water. But all of his other stuff, I've actually so far have enjoyed. Even Glass,
I think if
to
you
some
watch
extent.
Old and then you put that next to this and next to The Happening and Lady in the
Trilogy of
Water
shit.
and all that, you will the pattern. Will
Oh no, there's no
become
doubt that there's a
more
pattern
clear.
of a sliding, diminishing results. But I don't. I mean, I like Signs a lot. I actually loved it when it came out. I mean, I'm talking like I thought that was phenomenal. That moment where the alien pops out,
Yeah.
and I just had. I've never experienced a sense of dread like I have in that film in the cinema. I was like, oh, it just fundamentally made me just go, oh, they're screwed, and like Unbreakable, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. Sixth Sense, masterpiece, Not as good as Stir of Echoes, but that's for another time. But I get why people don't like his stuff, but I really am thinking there are a lot of people out there that are bashing him for no apparent reason for his tall poppy syndrome. You know, it's almost like a sport to rag on Shyamalan because he did After Earth. That's actually another one that's really bad.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen Last Airbender. But it's almost like it's like if you don't rag on him, then you're wrong. And then I'm talking about X. Like people are like very, very what's that word? Opinionated.
Yeah.
And they it's like if you don't agree with them about Shyamalan, then you're wrong. And I'm thinking, guys, look at what he did at the beginning. Look at the masterpieces he's done. I mean, I consider Split a masterpiece. I know you don't, but
there's plenty of people who agree that his early movies are masterpieces, but still think that everything that's come after that, with the exception of probably Split, is just not good.
I mean, The Visit was great. I really enjoyed that. I thought that was a really clever it was a little film, you know. That's the one thing I liked about it is the fact that he is almost like falling on his own sword and made almost an indie film.
I cannot get past the dialogue. I cannot get past just how unrealistic it is. If
I like the unrealism.
Yeah, I think unless you're in a full-on fantasy movie or a movie in a particular time period, or a movie in a land with their own language, then if you're not talking like people would talk, then it pulls me out of the movie straight
fair.
away.
That is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just like I just like it.
Yeah.
And that's fair. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, one of the good things about it is I think he cast Bautista as an intelligent person.
Yeah, he was really excited about casting him as well. He was thinking for a really long time about who he wanted in this role. And he saw Dave Bautista. I can't remember what movie it was in, but
Blade Runner 2049.
That's it. It was Blade Runner 2049.
He was
saw him
fantastic in that.
Yes, he was thinking. He said, "I need someone who's big and imposing, like a big WWE wrestler, but who, can be convincingly sweet and
is.
kind." And
I think Drax is like his
Dave
Drax
Bautista, has that in spades. He's a great actor.
He is really good.
I don't think he was that good in this movie. I thought, the
I
dialogue
thought-
didn't help. I thought he was.
He was good. But I would really, really like to see him in a dramatic role.
Yeah.
Like a proper drama. I don't know if he'll do it because that's not where the big bucks are. No. But he could do a Travolta role.
I think he would, because the reason he signed on for this role.
But isn't he retiring?
I don't think so.
I think he is retiring.
I don't know. I mean, the reason he signed on for Knock at the Cabin, though, is because he was looking for roles like that. And looking for a director who was willing to look past the big brutish WWE guy and actually give him a chance. So when Shyamalan pitched the idea to him, he was like, "Yes, thank you. I would love to be in your movie." And you can see that he is relishing, like I said, I don't think it's best performance, but he is relishing being in this role and trying something different. And good on him for that.
I thought he was excellent.
Yeah.
That's because I'm a fan. And, I don't think, with the exception of one actor in it, that anyone is bad in this film. Like bad.
Yeah.
I think everyone has a level of believability in their role. Maybe not the dialogue, maybe not the way it's presented, but I think they are believable.
Yeah. The only person who was particularly bad, who you actually called, that's just terrible acting, was actually the little girl. And she's not been in a movie before, so this is her first role, so you can't be too harsh to her. And like I said, it doesn't help that Shyamalan tends to give children in his movies dialogue that
Beyond
is
their years.
beyond their years, so it'd be awkward for any kid to say, especially one that doesn't have a lot of experience.
You can't
So-
always have a Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and unfortunately, his casting choices for children in his last several movies haven't been that great. He, like I said, he found Haley Joel Osment, and then he hasn't been able to quite
Yeah.
find someone as good since.
I mean, he had Jaden Smith in one of his. Oh, fuck, I can't even.
Yeah.
That kid cannot act. I mean, his dad is borderline what you'd call an actor.
Yeah.
He's a movie star. He's not an actor. And
to
I
give
don't
kudos
mind
to
Will
this
Smith.
little girl, she's not as bad as Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith is like literally like bottom tier. Never give him a role again because that guy has got no soul behind those eyes.
No.
I don't care what Will Smith. I will say his damn name out of my mouth. That kid cannot act.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, just because, both your parents are actors
Doesn't mean you're going to be good.
doesn't mean the talent gets passed on to you, and it's okay to know that.
Unlike Jack Quaid.
unlike Jack Quaid, who
He
acts
thinks,
circles around both his parents.
yeah.
Mm.
Although, Inner Space, which you haven't seen. She hasn't seen Inner Space, guys. Come on.
Anyway, back to the
Movie at hand.
So let's maybe talk about the difference between the book and the movie, because
It's been a long time since I've read the book.
yeah, the movie ends in a completely different way to the book.
Wholly different.
In the movie, spoiler alert, the Eric does make the sacrifice in the end and kills himself, and Andrew is left alive to take care of Wen.
He doesn't really. Okay. Yep. The whole thing is they can't kill themselves. They've got to sacrifice one of the family. That was one of the rules
Yeah.
of this thing. And he doesn't necessarily kill himself.
So Andrew
That-
kills him.
Yeah, because they're struggling
Yeah.
over a gun, and Andrew accidentally kills him. Now, it actually has a lot of. I thought a lot of energy and a lot of sadness.
Yeah.
In that, there was like you would. I mean, I'd sacrifice myself for you and the boys, right? And I'd want you to take me out because of I wouldn't want to be here without you guys. So I can understand.
Yeah.
And the reason why he does sacrifice himself is because the whole film you think this is preposterous, that's a pre-recorded tape, all that kind of stuff. But what happens is the fourth apocalypse is that it basically the Earth's electromagnetic field screws up, and you have planes falling from the sky. And he sees like we don't like it's like, oh, okay, this still could be crap. This could still be crap. Don't go for the gun. Don't shoot yourself. All of a sudden, in the background, we just see a plane just go.
But also, as the movie's progressing, Andrew is steadfast that this is all bullshit. But Eric, even though he's got a concussion, he starts to see a little thing here, a little thing there, has a little vision, and it all sort of pulls together for him at the end. And by the end of the movie, he is convinced that it's real. And
He has a vision of them in the future.
Yeah, he has a vision of Andrew and Wen in the future thriving in a world where the apocalypse didn't happen. So he knows he has to sacrifice himself, and it's beautiful. It's lovely, and I don't dislike.
Probably the best scene in the film.
Yeah, I don't dislike this ending, but when you hear about the ending of the book,
It's hardcore, guys.
it actually it makes it pretty clear that some of the changes that were made for this movie, some of the choices that Shyamalan made, were not to the movie's benefit. Because in the book, Wen actually dies. She's accidentally shot.
When they're going for the gun.
When they're going for the gun in a battle to try and escape the cabin. And so at the end, it's just Andrew and Eric, and they basically Eric says, you know, I'm going to sacrifice myself so that you'll live. And Andrew's like, no, they've already taken everything away from us. We've lost Wen. You know, I can't lose you too. They can't possibly take any more from us. If this is what is going to happen, if this is the end of the world, let's be in the end of the world together and just, you know, whatever happens, happens. And they sort of go off,
It's a great line.
into the night. And yeah, it's actually, I'll read you. It is a very beautiful line.
It stays with you. This
Yeah.
ending stays with you. That's what I was actually looking forward to watching the film to see if they had the gumption to do it, but
Yeah.
nah, it's okay.
Yeah, in the final pages of the book, Eric decides to end his life to stop the apocalypse. Andrew persuades him not to, and the two join hands to walk into the abyss. The storm swirls directly over us, but we've been through countless other storms. Maybe this one is different. Maybe it isn't. Maybe we'll lift Wen into our arms and we'll carry her and we'll remember her and we'll love her as we will love ourselves. We will walk down the road even if it's flooded by raging waters or blocked by fallen trees or if greedy fissures open up beneath our feet, and we will walk the perilous roads after that one. We will go on. And, you know, it basically describes the fact that why the fuck would they sacrifice themselves at this point?
You love
you know,
someone, you don't give up on them.
They are each other's
Love.
lives. And so if the rest of the world is going to shit, well, then the rest of the world is going to shit. They can't they've just lost their daughter. They can't possibly lose anything else. And that is an ending that makes sense to me. Whereas in this one, even though it was a good ending, it didn't quite have that same resonance that it does in the book.
I'll agree there. I
Yeah.
prefer the book ending, but as a Hollywood quote unquote ending, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. In the book also, the four visitors at the cabin who turn out, spoiler alert, to be the four horsemen of the apocalypse, even though they don't really know that that's who they are, but that has become their chosen role. In the movie, they are all pretty steadfast right up to the end, each and every one of them, that the apocalypse is going to happen, this is what they have to do. But in the book, after Wen is accidentally shot, Sabrina, who's the nurse, decides this is
Wrong.
we can't do this. This is wrong. We can't make these people make this decision. We haven't got that power, and how do we know if this is even real? So she ends up killing Leonard in the book and helping Eric and Andrew escape. She does end up killing herself because even though she has decided that it might be wrong, she also still in her heart knows the apocalypse probably is going to happen, and she doesn't want them to lose any more than they already have. So she makes that sacrifice. And again, beautiful. That would have been really interesting to see in the movie, but they didn't do it that way.
And it's fine because Batista's a bigger name, so they would have wanted him to live until the very end.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I like the ending because, I mean, the book is near and dear, but the ending for a film was actually, I thought, was very good.
The way he dies in the book as well is a lot more brutal than what happens in the movie, because he's the last of the four horsemen to die, and he's pretty much resigned to the fact that this is what's going to happen at this point. And it's almost a peaceful death. He slits his own throat, which you see just off camera. You don't actually see him do it.
Yeah. And it's not like that. Remember that death we were watching and they slit the throat down here and the cuts up there?
Yes.
What was that film?
That was Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
H.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, yeah. So it's quite a peaceful death compared to what happens in the book. So perhaps, the rating of this movie might have had some influence on
I think so.
on the order of things, and I can certainly understand that. But having said that, the other deaths in this movie are
Brutal.
brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you necessarily see everything, but you get the gist of what's happening to these people, and it's
And the sound
pleasant.
and the sound
design
design
is pretty great.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jason. He's actually got a really great sound system. Sonos, of course. I used to work for him. And it was like when you hear like when what's his name? Roy.
Huh?
The Rupert Grint's character.
Raymond.
Raymond. When you hear him like go on the thing, you hear this,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
And that's the thing, and he's picked it up from Hitchcock. It's not what you see, but it's how
Yeah.
what you imagine in your head, and the sound design can make or break that kind of thing.
And I did appreciate that level of nuance in the movie, that he trusted his audience enough not to throw everything in your face. Although he made other choices with his cinematography that were the complete opposite of that, which we'll go to now in our awards.
Hey,
Do we have anything else to say about the movie before we go into that
hey,
side
look,
of things?
if you're skeptical about it and you're not sure about this film, just watch it.
Who is this movie for?
This movie is for, well, I can't say really fans of the book, because there are differences. Well, yeah, fans of the book and fans of Shyamalan.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely fans of Shyamalan will love this movie. Fans of, end of the world thrillers will probably get a kick out of this movie.
There was another
as well.
one, wasn't there? That Julia Roberts film that came out last year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they said it was very similar. Like it's almost exactly the same story.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I mean, like to the point where someone said on X, Paul Tremblay's going to sue somebody because it's
We'll have to watch it. And make
virtually the
comparison.
same story. Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, if you like those kinds of movies and if you like Shyamalan, give it a watch. It's
And
certainly
Bautista
certainly not his worst movie, and there were
happening.
There were some very, very enjoyable moments. And I must admit, like the first 10 minutes of the movie, I was like, oh, God, it's another one of those. Because, like I said, the dialogue and just the setup, I was like, oh, you cringe. But as the movie went on, I warmed to it. I warmed to the idea. I warmed to these characters. As ridiculous as the premise is, I did warm to it.
And I could actually see it sitting next to you.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, she's not
Yeah.
wholly offended.
Yeah, I had expected after the first 10, 15 minutes to absolutely hate it. But
Not
I
like
didn't.
the second film we tried to watch that night.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
we won't mention that one.
Shall we move on to the awards?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Worst editing moment.
I'm going to go with what you said, where with the death of.
It's not the death
It's
of
the
Redmond.
punching up.
Yeah,
It's the fight scene.
when they first get into the cabin, Andrew attacks
Raymond.
and punches him, and the
I thought
the way the camera follows his head as he's punched from side to side.
I actually
makes
liked
him
it,
look
but
like a puppet.
But I agree, it's the worst
Yeah.
editing.
I appreciate that style. Lee Winnell does that particularly well.
And James Wan, yeah.
they
Those guys have got it sussed.
in action sequences they follow the bodies moving from side to side.
Like
but,
Death Sentence.
yeah, but the way they do it is gorgeous. It was not quite done that well in this movie. It looked a bit silly.
Bit silly.
What was the worst line?
What was the Leonard's first line?
So it wasn't his first line in the movie. It was his
first line
when
to Andrew and Eric.
to Andrew and Eric when all four of them
Yeah,
they broke
that's
into the
the one.
cabin.
The four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse.
They've tied them up, and literally the first thing he says to them is,
We have come here
the four of us are here to prevent the apocalypse.
I mean, Jesus, hi, my name's Leonard.
Yeah, it's like that's a way to get two people you've just tied up on board. Let's start with, we're here to prevent the apocalypse. I'm sure they're not going to think you're crazy.
Like, this is hardcore Latter-day Saints. Yeah.
Yeah. And as you can imagine, it doesn't go down well.
No.
What is the best line?
The one that Wen says.
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, she's talking to Leonard about
it's a great line.
how the fact that she has two dads.
No, except when my guidance counselor keeps saying how it's so great that I have two dads. For some reason, it makes me feel like she's saying the opposite.
And Leonard,
How do you feel about
he
that?
said, "Yeah, how do you feel about having two dads?" And she says, "I'm fine with it, except when my guidance counselor keeps saying it's so good that I have two dads. It makes me feel like she's saying the opposite."
Great
That
line.
was a really actually insightful line.
And delivered very well.
Yeah, it was probably the only line she does deliver well in that movie. But it's like kind of hit the nail on the head for what children of gay couples probably experience, especially in a
Homophobic territory like
yeah.
America.
Well, but even more so now when people
Sorry,
are trying
America.
to be more inclusive, but to the point of tokenism.
Yeah,
I
or
can
virtue
imagine those
signalling, yeah.
yeah, virtue signaling. I can imagine that a lot of those children are just like, oh,
I'm so for gay marriage.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you've got two dads. It's like,
that's great.
yeah,
Thank
I'm so
you.
cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, like I'm so cool that I'm so for it. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, come
Yeah.
on, fuck off.
That was a clever line.
It was.
Right, what was the most over the top performance?
Adrienne,
Yep.
her,
Yeah, just her in general.
her in general. I
Yeah.
think she when she's explaining that she has a kid and all that kind of stuff, it's like we're meant to question her,
Yeah.
but not to the point where I think, oh, this woman's full of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. She was not very convincing.
No.
But my favourite over the top performance was
Oh, this-
actually just before Adrian goes to kill herself. Andrew's sitting there in his chair and just trying to convince her not to do it. And he's sick of seeing the violence, and the way he just kind of chucks a tanty and rocks back and forth in his chair is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
See that? Stop! Please stop this!
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Worst special effects.
Well, it didn't have that many special effects. However, the CG, I mean, I don't know what the budget of this was, but the CG of the planes, Jesus, War or Thunder, the game my son plays, has better friggin' looking CG planes.
It wasn't just that the CG planes were bad.
They weren't comped in properly.
Yeah, they weren't comped in properly. So it's supposed to be this harrowing moment where all these planes are falling out of the sky, all these people are losing their lives.
They're in buttfuck nowhere.
I was laughing.
Like, and
I thought it was really funny because
Well,
these planes just start going, "Yee!"
But they're in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah.
and a plane happens to be going by and falls out of the sky. It's like
Yeah,
they're literally in nowhereville,
yeah.
and
Apparently
there's
there's
a plane. I mean
I mean,
know-
it could happen.
it could
maybe
happen.
the plane was flying over that area when it crashed, but
I mean, I actually didn't find it funny like some sickos. I was like, oh, but then the reality of the fact that they looked like
yeah,
it looked like Titanic level CG.
yeah.
And that
Yeah.
that was friggin' bad. If you see Titanic on the big screen, on the biggest screen you possibly can, you see all the little guys walking like no smooth movement at all. You know, Cameron's gone back and redone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, when
Just like
when
Lucas.
you're supposed to be looking at a scene like, covering your mouth like, oh my God, this is terrible, and you actually find
Covering your
yourself
mouth, laughing.
smiling, then you might want to go back and revisit those special effects.
See, like, I don't know if this had test audience. I mean, most modern films now have the test audience and they go back and reshoot stuff. And, like, I remember back in the 80s, like, they had test audiences and they wouldn't change anything. They'd be like, test audience, oh, this film goes through the roof.
Yeah.
Or is like this film's, like, no one likes it. They'd just release it anyway. and they wouldn't change anything. Now films are so catered. It's like they reckon in the next few years there's going to be AI that makes a film that is based on your watch habits. Like they'll read your letterbox
Wow.
and they'll make a film. It'll be like Back to the Future Back to the Future meets Friday the 13th
I
Part
don't
6.
want what I want. I want what I don't know that I want.
Exactly. Films have got to be a mystery. It's
Yeah.
like this trailer we watched tonight for Gladiator 2. There's no mystery in that trailer. There's films, and that's one thing that Shyamalan does very well, is he puts, unless you watch trailers, he puts mystery in his films. It's like you want to know more, you know? Do you want to know more? Yeah, and that's what discovering films is all about, is, okay, this is an interesting premise. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I think that's one gift that he has as a filmmaker.
And what would you give this movie out of 10?
Out of 10, I'd probably say a 7.
I'd give it a 5. If the, like I said,
I would say probably.
even though I think that the ending in the book is better, like I said, I have no problem with the ending of the movie, the choice that they made, but it's the dialogue. You got to have better dialogue. If the dialogue had made more sense, then it would easily be a 7.5. But
I mean, it's a beautiful film, and the sound design is amazing.
yeah,
I mean, it has a lot of aesthetically pleasing parts to this movie.
when Shyamalan isn't doing close-ups so close to people's faces that you can see out their nostrils, because he really likes to do that in his movies.
It's a
I don't need to-
confrontational
I don't-
thing. I get it as a film, like as a trope or as an intention. I get it.
Yeah.
But if you do something so much that
Yeah.
it becomes almost obscenely laughable,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
you know,
and that's the problem. He does it so often that you can actually sit there and go, close up, close up,
Yeah.
close up. He's doing it again. He's doing that
I
thing.
mean,
Close up.
we watch films and I literally will sit there going, cut, or like the killer is there. And it's like, and if you can guess what's happening,
Yeah.
you know, as the film goes on or before, things that the filmmakers failed,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, then again, you could have a complete one, like reverse of that, and watch something and go, "What the fuck just happened?" Like the movie tonight, like it just all of a sudden fades to black, and it's like, "What?"
Yeah. That's another
That's-
movie we'll probably talk about at
We'll
some
have
point.
to. We'll have to put the two of those films
Yeah.
against each other.
Yeah.
Two films, same actor in 1 year, same subject, and polar opposites.
But anyway, that's for another night.
It is. But for tonight, I'll say drink lots of water. Not the lady in the water. Drink lots of water and stay hydrated.
And I will say that leggings are not pants, but I also say maybe stay off e-scooters, because apparently they're not safe. They're not safe at all.
No, anyone out there want to buy an e-scooter?
Yeah, because we're selling one, just FYI.
Yeah. Full price. No, kidding.
Night.
Night, guys.